Vans sneakers, origin and history explained. The usual story in the American corporate world, and indeed the rest of the globe, is someone dropping out of college to found and build a mega brand. This one is more of the same, but it has a slight difference. Today, we're going to look at Vans, its origins and history. The company has built itself a strong reputation as a dedicated manufacturer of footwear used in the skateboarding sport. And it's done more than that for this sport, and other sports in fact. It's also left some marks in the music industry too. Stay with me to find out how. Before we get to it, I have a humble request: subscribe to our channel. That way you don't miss any of our informative and interesting videos about companies you've always thought you've known, but probably don't. Each of us has that one brand we've seen around a lot, interacted with and even worked for, but never gotten to know where it started and how it reached where it is today. That's where Company Explained comes in. We fill those knowledge gaps for you. In addition to subscribing to our channel, you're welcome to also share this video with friends and family. You doing that gives us a lot more motivation to keep doing what we're doing. Thanks. Now let's get to today's pick. The story of Vans is the classic story of someone going against all the odds to achieve the American dream. And like the story of almost every major brand, the story of Vans begins with the story of its founder, Paul Van Doren. That's who led the founding of this company, and with the help of some of his family members and lifelong friends, has overseen its growth for over 5 decades. Paul Van Doren was born in 1930 in Boston, Massachusetts. His father, Johnson Van Doren, was an inventor, while his mother, Rena Van Doren, was a seamstress, which most likely contributed to young Paul's interest in fashion. Paul was one of the 2 children born to the Van Dorens, and his brother James Van Doren, who passed on in 2011, played a major role in the success of the Vans brand. In 1944, at the tender age of 14, Paul Van Doren dropped out of intermediate school, 8th grade to be exact. Note, it's not college like many other founders of major brands, and that's where a slight twist to our story lies. Moving on. As expected, his parents were not really happy about it, and they were even more disappointed when he followed his love for horse racing and started hanging out at horse race tracks nearby. At horse race tracks, he gained a reputation for predicting the horses that would win in competitions. He was nicknamed Dutch the Clutch, and he would collect as small amounts as $1 to give horse race odds. Finally, his mother Rena managed to convince him to get a real job. And the place he went for his first real job was Randy's, a shoe manufacturing company in his hometown. Randy's grew to become one of the largest American shoe manufacturers in the 40s and 50s, and Paul's first role at the company was to keep the floors of the factory clean. Getting this job turned out to be a very critical step in his life. In fact, it altered the course of his life significantly. If he hadn't joined Randy's, Paul could most likely never have started and built Vans. And you most likely would not be watching this video right now. At Randy's is where Paul Van Doren learned everything about the shoe business. Randy's company equipped him with first, shoemaking skills, and second, business management skills. He started from the bottom and rose to the top. After cleaning factory floors for a while, he learned how to work the machines and how to put shoe parts together. After becoming an excellent shoemaker, he became a supervisor, then a manager, and then an executive vice president of the company. And that was in about 20 years. And guess who worked alongside him at the Randy's company? His brother James. When Paul was posted to Garden Grove, California to help turn around a failing company factory, his brother James moved with him. And the rescue mission was a success. The Randy's factory in Garden Grove was doing better than the one in Massachusetts in just 8 months of Paul's posting. This quick success most probably gave Paul the confidence to do what he probably had always dreamed about: start his own shoe manufacturing company. Owning his own company must have seemed like the next logical step in his career path. A few months after turning around the Randy's factory in California, Paul resigned. His brother followed in his footsteps. And on March 16, 1966, Paul, his brother James, and their friends Gordon Lee and Serge Delia launched the Van Doren Rubber Company. Their first business location was in Anaheim, California, and it served both as the factory and the retail outlet. Indeed, the way the company sought to differentiate itself from the rest in the industry was to manufacture shoes on their premises and sell them directly to the public. Indeed, the first sales were just designs on paper. The company asked the public to put orders and they would deliver in hours or days. Nevertheless, people trusted them, and on the first day of business, they received 12 orders. And as they say, the rest is history. The company has continued to expand its offering, and while its primary product remains to be shoes, it also manufactures clothes, bags, and other related items. It's important to point out that Vans' supply chain has changed a bit from what it was at its inception in 1966. Now it has retail stores away from the manufacturing plants, and it also sells through an online store. One way the company has been able to find a connection with the American culture and thus maintain visibility and remain relevant over the years is to support and sponsor events and social activities. For example, since 1995, the company has supported the Warped Tour, a summer traveling rock tour covering the United States and Canada. The tour is the longest-running rock and pop music touring festival in North America. Some of the artists who've performed in Warped Tour events include will.i.am, Black Eyed Peas, and Black Veil Brides. In 2001, Vans bought a controlling interest in Warped Tour, the entity that organises the tour events. And this led to the change of the name of the organisation from Warped Tour to Vans Warped Tour. The number of attendees to a single Vans Warped Tour can be as high as millions, but the number one interest of the company is in sports. Vans has remained a huge supporter of skateboarding in the US. The company has helped build skateboarding facilities across the US, as well as supporting teams participating in competitions. One skateboarding facility Vans has built is the skate park in Huntington Beach, California. The facility is 42,500 square feet in size and has a skate bowl of 17,500 square foot. This facility was opened to the public in 2009. The other skateboarding facility Vans has built is the 46,000 square foot indoor and outdoor Vans skate park at Orange Mall at Orange County. This one was opened to the public in 1998. Since 1996, the company has sponsored the Triple Crown of skateboarding events. In 2000, it acquired the Triple Crown of surfing, and that was followed by the launch of the Vans Triple Crown series, which includes events in surfing, wakeboarding, snowboarding, skateboarding, BMX freestyle, motocross, and supercross. The Vans Triple Crown series events are broadcast on ESPN2, NBC Sports, and Fox Sports Net. The event attracts hundreds of thousands of attendees and tens of millions who watch from home. But the relationship between Van and the skating community goes back to the late 1960s. Skateboarders found the sticky soles of shoes that Vans made to be very much ideal for the sport, and the sales among this group of clientele soared from the very early days of the company. The company noticed this interest from skateboarders and began to concentrate on satisfying their needs. And indeed, by the late 70s, skateboarders sporting the rugged sticky sole Vans shoes were a common feature in the entire Southern California scene. And one particular shoe design, known as Era, became the shoe of choice for most skateboarders. Over the years, the company has designed and produced different kinds of shoes for skateboarding. Perhaps it's important to mention that Vans has its own skate team. The Vans skate team makes tours across the US as well as outside the country. In recent years, the company has also sponsored the US Open of Surfing. Now let's turn our focus to the business side of the company. For decades after the launch, Vans grew in a number of items sold at the market and in terms of market capitalization. For the first 20 years, Vans was basically a family business in many ways. Even the company logo was designed and drawn by the 13-year-old son of James in the 1970s. But not all went well for the company throughout the years. By 1984, the company had spread itself too thin by releasing a wide range of products too fast. And while the core Vans skateboarding products were doing well at the market, the company was not in very good shape financially as a result. It needed help. And so in that year, it sought legal protection from creditors. It filed for bankruptcy with a court-approved reorganization plan. The plan included cutting back on the number of products on offer and reduced operation cost, including no pay raise for employees for the next 3 years. The plan worked, and by the end of 1987, the company had paid almost all of the debt it owed creditors. And to bolster its financial position even more, in 1988, the company found new owners. A significant part of it was sold to the banking firm McCown DeLue & Co. for $74.4 million. More capital rearrangement came in 1993 when the company made an initial public offering on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. Much of the IPO details have remained private. However, it is at least known that the price of the issued shares was $14. In 2004, the company merged with VF Corporation, a North Carolina-based company. Now, how does the future of the company look? Of course, it's not easy to tell, but the most obvious thing that will happen to the company is that it's going to be more global than American. That is what is happening to every other major brand. In 2008, it opened its first retail store in Shanghai, China, and since then, it's opened stores in Europe and Japan. We really appreciate you sitting through to watch this video. Please subscribe and share. Thank you.